The Evil Dead Burn was a fantastic horror film, and I think it's another great film for the franchise. I've recently watched the new Evil Dead Burn. I have to say it's another great entry for the franchise. So with Evil Dead Burn, we are following a family again. It's a very similar premise to the last entry of Evil Dead Rise, but this time around, the family really sucks. So the film is a very good one. I gotta say, it was a really good entry. The violence was insane. I feel like it was more graphic than the other films I've seen. There is a pretty brutal animal death in this movie. It's actually the one of the few first kills among the family, and just a warning here, but if you see this part, please look away. It's very disturbing, and I'm sure that many of you are not gonna like that part. I had a hard time watching it. That was the first death in an Evil Dead film I couldn't look at. It was hard for me to watch. And another thing about this film too that freaked me out was the camera work. It really gave me the vibes of Evil Dead 2. And I was just very impressed by all the camera work. It felt like some sort of tribute to the original trilogy, but it did not seem like a ripoff either. It seemed like its own thing, and it definitely worked in its favor. The story too was a bit of a mystery. They do add a bit of some kind of lore here and there with a cult. The Circle Five group is that what they were called? I'm trying to remember. But yeah, and then this film also has a connection to the first Evil Dead films, the two original ones. The first one, Evil Dead 2. So the Evil Dead film, the first one, it is referenced in one part of the film when the main character finds the Book of the Dead with some news articles, and she's going through, and the first thing she sees is four dead in a cabin. I have a feeling that was the first film, and then Evil Dead 2 is referenced because of a specific weapon that appears in the film. This is actually really cool, honestly. I did not expect those two connections at all, and it made the film so much more enjoyable for me. And I have to say, I really did enjoy this film a lot. It was just very hard to watch. The kills in this one were insane. I was Deadites were very different too, but the beatings were, oh man, there was one family member, some guy that I really wasn't a fan of in the film. He gets beat so badly by a Deadite in one part with his mom. They're both getting the crap beaten out of each other so bad in one whole scene. Fantastic camera work again. It kind of looked like just one whole take, and I was so impressed by that. I don't know how they filmed that, but damn, that looked insane. But yeah, I know some people are pretty mixed on it because there were some complaints here and there. I'm actually gonna talk about it in my next video, what I thought about the film. Yeah, overall, pretty much. But yeah, there were some complaints with the film, and I of course I do get why people were complaining about Evil Dead Burn, because some people feel like the Evil Dead Rise was more entertaining, and people also do like the fact that the family was um you felt more sorry for them in the last entry. But I think that was the point with this one, that they were trying to make a crappy family that kind of had it coming. And yeah, this family, I gotta be honest, I didn't feel bad for them at all. Just for the animal, but that was it. Because this family, they're terrible people. They're really bad people, and I'm gonna explain why in my next video. But yeah, this family is not really people that they want to root for at all, personally. The only people that you feel bad for are three of them, which is the animal, the main character, and the grandma. I should mention really quickly the grandma. She was so funny in this movie. That was another thing I forgot to mention. Evil Dead Burn has comedy in it, which really surprised me, and it kind of gave me the vibes of Evil Dead 2. But man, it was so funny. I found myself laughing in a couple scenes which I did not expect. I haven't laughed in an Evil Dead film in a while from the new ones, because the remake to Evil Dead that came out in 2013 wasn't really funny. I mean, some parts were, but not really. It was very dark. Evil Dead Rise was just very sad, disturbing. But this one, I was able to laugh at, which I'm cool. We finally brought back the comedy. So yeah, I guess if you're a fan of Evil Dead Rise, I think that you'll enjoy Evil Dead Burn a lot. It does have like all the formulas that any like, Evil Dead fan's gonna love. You got the crazy violence, characters to get killed pretty bad, awesome like Deadite possessions, and then pretty good story overall. And great camera work if you're interested in seeing some really cool like Deadite action. I think that any horror fan is gonna like this movie in its own way. Okay, guys, that's it for today. I'll see you with a brand new video very soon. Peace out.